Y103, Youngstown's classic rock. Fast Freddie here, and my special guest today is a good friend of mine, Frank Fordley, a local musician. He's been around forever. Fordley's Music Center. I'm sure a lot of people that started their musical careers got their instruments from Frank out in Champion, and Frank is getting back to playing out. And Frank, first off, it's good to have you here. What's up, man?
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. It's been a rough one after Smoke's death. I quit playing for about 5 years. And finally, I ended up taking Patrick, his son, under my wing, started teaching him how to play bass, and before you know it, we started playing again.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Got one kicking butt band. It's unbelievable.
Now, that's awesome. Now, for people that don't know, you were good friends and bandmates with Smokin Bill, who was the afternoon guy here at Y103 for many, many years. And why don't you share a couple of memories of Smoke?
Oh, God. How many memories. I actually met Smoke right after my mom passed away. She had cancer many, many, many times and many nervous breakdowns. And when I met Smoke, I was having a tough time. Every night he would check up on me, see if I was okay. And that really blew my mind. So one night I told him, I says, because I started getting better and, getting through everything. And I was just joking. I says, hey, if you ever want to play bass, let me know. He goes, I want a 69 Fender Jazz bass. So I went out that night. I actually got one for him and took it up to him the next day. He should have seen the look on his face. It was amazing. He goes, Frank, I was just joking. I says, no, you weren't. I says, I know you used to play organ. Now you're going to play bass. So every night he would come here at the shop after I closed, and I would teach him how to play bass. And before you know it, we started working on a new album. Of course, we went to bike night. I should say bike week in Florida. How many times? And the last time we went up there, him and I were playing in a couple of different places out there. We came back one night from the bar we were playing at, went to the motel, and I started writing a song. And he goes, what are you writing? I says, a song called Bike Night. He goes, get out of here. I said, no, just let me finish it up. So I finished it up, and I played it for him. He goes, we get back, we're going in the studio with John Safari, and we're going to record that. So we did. And actually, Michelangelo Badio, I don't know if you're familiar with who he is.
Right, yeah.
He's actually the fastest guitar player in the world, plays two guitars at once. He got it for #1 shredder of all time. So we recorded an album called Bike Night. And what was so funny, I don't know if you remember Gary from Quaker Steak.
Yes.
Okay, Gary actually gave us the okay. He wanted to use that as a promotion tool because the hit on the song is Bike Night. And, of course, me and my baby's going to bike night tonight. The Quaker Steak is calling. It's my turn to buy tonight, that kind of thing. But so we were going to get that going. We started to, actually. And there was just so many things going on. He had me opening up for Rick Springfield, Peter Frampton, David Lee Roth, Blue Oyster Cult. I was doing a lot of big shows. And finally, he called me one day, and we used to call each other 4 or 5 times a day. Right. We were like two old ladies. but he called me up, and he says, Frankie, something's not right with my bass. And I says, what's the matter? He says, I don't know. My left hand, it just doesn't feel right. So he brought the bass down to me, and I checked it out, and I said, Smoke, the neck is perfect. Everything is great. He goes, well, humor me. Put a lighter set of strings on it for me. So I did. He told me, and I'll never forget this as long as I live, he said, Frankie, I'm really worried about you. And I said, what are you worried about, Smoke? He says, Frankie, you need to be taking one day off a week to refresh yourself. He says, you'll come back bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. He says, you can't keep doing this. And I've been in business now. It's been 40 years.
Right.
But at the time, it was 30 because, he's been gone now for 10 years.
Hard to believe.
But unbelievable. Unbelievable. But so he was getting ready to leave, and he hugged me like we always do, brothers do, and he said, Frankie, listen to what I'm saying. And I said, Smoke, when you get home later on, give me a call. Let me know that it sounds good. Plug it into your amp. I gave him a great big full stack amp also, which he had to have to play with us anyway.
Right.
But so an hour and a half goes by, he don't call me. So it's 8 o'clock, so I called. When I called him, his next door neighbor, Tommy, answered the phone. And I'm like, what is going on? Because, him and Tommy were good friends, too, very, very close.
Uh-huh.
He says, Frankie, sit down. I said, what do you mean sit down? He says, you're not going to believe this. I says, what? And he says, Smoke just passed away.
Oh, man.
And I said, you got to be kidding me. So I was in such shock because I just lost another friend 2 weeks before that, Rocky Flaviano. I don't know if you knew who Rocky was, but so I'll never forget, I went in my backyard. I had 60 acres back then, and I just started screaming, why, God, why are you taking all my friends? I mean, it was just very hard on me.
Wow.
It beat the living. It was worse than my mom's death. And at least my mom, we knew it was going to happen. But this I never expected in a million years. Never. And so first thing I did is I got a hold of Patrick, his son, and I said, Patrick, I'm coming over to make sure you're okay. I want to spend some time with you. And I go there, and what's he doing? He's playing his dad's bass. He didn't know what he was doing. He's just, fumbling around with it. And I says, you want to learn how to play? He goes, I'd love to learn how to play. I says, no problem. I'll teach you. So I started teaching him. And in the meantime, I didn't even want to touch a guitar. I'm not exaggerating. 5 years went by, and I did not touch a guitar, didn't play a piano, nothing. It was just, and finally, as I started working with him, he said, Dad would not want you not to be playing. He goes, this is freaking ridiculous. And I says, I looked at him and I says, you don't understand. And he says, yes, I do understand. He goes, that was my father. And all of a sudden, I turned the whole story around and I started thinking, you know what? He's right. That's his dad. That may have been my best friend, but that was his dad.
Right.
So we started jamming as I'm starting to teach him how to play it, and I'm playing the guitar with him. We're laughing, we're giggling, and all of a sudden, man, everything's coming back. So he says, why don't you go line up a bass player, line up a drummer, blah, blah, blah. Just believe it or not, I've been working on this show for 2.5 years.
Oh, man.
It's that long. Because what we're doing, I'm sure you remember, we played at Packard Music Hall.
Right.
I used to do the Illusions of Rock Stars, where I'd dress up like Steve Perry and sing like him. Then I'd come out like AC/DC dressed up.
Yes.
And there was like 20 different stars that I would do.
Right.
And what the whole idea of this album was, I wanted to put that away. So the name of the album was supposed to be Conclusions of Illusions. And Smoke really loved that idea. And I said, I want to kind of put that away, and I want it to be me. So I wrote a song called After 911. The song After 911 got signed to Hilltop Records in California. And that was amazing to me. And then they even bought the song off of me also.
Wow.
So now all of a sudden things are starting to pick up and starting to go my way. And what was really funny, and please don't take this the wrong way, I'm not bragging, but after playing since I was 3 years old and getting to that position that I was at, you kind of get your own style. And my own style, in my opinion, was getting stagnant. Well, what was nice is when I made this comeback, I'm doing stuff I never dreamt. I'm playing Cliffs of Dover. I'm playing Eruption. I'm playing all these very intricate, confusing, hard songs to play. And I'm very, very tickled of what's going on now with the band. We got the big show coming up, of course, Saturday at Leon's.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that. Who's in the band, and what can people expect when they come out to Leon's this Saturday?
Sure. On drums, we got Johnny Marcedo. The guy is absolutely... But my dream was to find a drummer, and don't take this the wrong way, I wanted to get a drummer as good as me. Because actually, years ago, I did play drums. Well, this guy comes out and auditions, this is so funny, for bass guitar. And he did a fantastic job, which was Johnny. And I says, Johnny, man, you're in, man. No doubts about it. He says, you know what? He goes, I really love you. I love the band. I love everything that's going on. He goes, but I don't know I just don't know if it's the right time. I says, I don't want to push you. No problem.
Right.
So a month goes by, and we're still auditioning bass players. And then all of a sudden, the drummer comes in to me, and he says, Frankie, I got a problem with neuropathy. I can't do this anymore. It's killing me. So just out of the blue, I called Johnny up, and I says, hey, Johnny, I says, do you have any drummers? He goes, Frankie, I am a drummer. I said, what? I said, you sound like me now, because I play trumpet, flute, clarinet. I play every instrument.
Right.
Of course, guitar is my main instrument. So what ended up happening, he come out, he auditioned, and I'm telling you the God's truth. He blows me out of the water. The other day we were rehearsing. He's actually living in Florida now. But this was about a couple of weeks ago. We were rehearsing. He says, why don't we play what was the name of the song? He says, you play the drums on it and I'll play guitar, because he does play guitar too. And I says, listen, I cannot come anywhere near you on drums, and I don't even want to try to attempt it. I says, he should be in Vegas playing. That's how good this guy is. He's out of this world. And it's an honor to be playing with him, because the best I'd ever heard of was John Safair. And, of course, John Safair played all the drum tracks on every one of my albums that I released. And he did a fantastic job. But this guy is just right up there with him. And then, of course, on bass guitar, we got Gil, who used to, he actually still does a couple shows with Abbey Road. And on rhythm guitars, Dave Hunter. And what's so funny, Dave was our drummer from before. And he always talked about he had a collection of 30 guitars, and I always said I got a collection, which I do have, of over 100 guitars. I got old Les Pauls. I mean, this stuff all added up over 40 years, since I've been in business. But so finally, when he came here and told me, that he can't play drums anymore, but he says, I can't play rhythm guitar. And I says, you're kidding me. He goes, no. He goes, I'd like to really audition for that. So we got everybody together and we did it, and I mean, everything just clicked, just absolutely. And I picked the most intricate songs. Layla. Have you ever heard a band actually play Layla from front to back? I started out on guitar. The other guys come in. Then towards the end, I go to the piano, and I mean, it sounds identical to the song. And every one of our songs is like that. And these guys just nailed it right off the bat. And I mean, they're amazing. I've got the best guys I could ever wish for. And like I said, it's 2.5 years we've been working on the whole show. And I mean, we're ready to bust out there. I even bought a tour bus recently.
Uh-oh.
And we even got an agent, and Mike, he does a fantastic job. Just a super, super nice guy. But that's why, I don't know if you heard, we're selling the business. I'm selling Fordley's music. I'm selling the building, selling the car lot, everything, because we want to go on the road, and we want to just take this out.
That's pretty wild. So you guys have been working on this now for 2 years, and you're going to bust it out this Saturday night at Leon's.
Yep. We sure are. We're going to have fog machine. We're going to have lasers. We're going to have lights. I mean, everything you can imagine. And a couple surprises, and I'm not going to mention. There's going to be 2 big surprises, too. And we're really excited about getting this thing going, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
And then you're going to be doing like Layla. You're going to be doing Layla Saturday night. Okay,
absolutely.
And I know you do a little bit of Michael Stanley. What else is on the bill? What's on the set list?
Yeah. That's important for me to say. Actually, we do a medley of Michael Stanley, and I got to tell you real quick. We were at a show. This is years ago when Michael was alive, and it was just a coincidence. The place we were at, Michael was there, and he was signing autographs. I'm up there singing Baby If You Want to Dance. He comes up to me after I sing the song. He goes, you sucker. He goes, you sound exactly like me. And I says, I do imitations. And that's actually how I started singing all these other guys, like these other guys. We were at Smoke's house one night. It was Christmas Eve. And I'm doing all these imitations of, like, Vinnie Barbarino. My name's Vinnie Barbarino. Very short. You're going to feel faint. And then Fonzie, hey, listen up, shortcake. But anyway, so Smoke says, hey, wait a minute. If you could do that, you should be able to sing like these guys too, right? And I said, yeah. And that's how the Illusions of Rock Stars started out. So, but anyway, for Michael Stanley say that to me, that I sound just like him, I said, well, come on up. I says, we'll do All I Ever Wanted. So he sang it with us, and that was an honor. But
oh, that had to be very cool. Very cool.
Oh, unbelievable. I've been so blessed, Freddie, over the years. It's crazy, But like I keep telling my wife, and she keeps telling me also, 40 years is a long time to be in business. I've reached all the goals that I wanted to. I've done everything I wanted to, except I want to take this show on the road. That's all there is to it. And I mean, we're going to do it. We are definitely going to do it and have a blast with it. Besides the Michael Stanley medley we're doing, which is out of this world, people, they're going to flip when they hear this. What else we got going on? We're doing a lot of Grand Funk. We're doing Cheap Trick. Of course, songs off. Actually, Smoke used to play Radio, which was my song that I wrote. And also he wrote I wrote Bike Night, and he kept playing that on the radio all the time. but we're going to do that. Something I've never heard anybody do, the raspberries.
Love the raspberries.
So we're going to have fun with that. And I could tell you a cool story about that. When I was this is years ago, I was in a band, and Love Affair, remember the band Love Affair?
Yeah, sure, right.
Okay, well, Eric Carmen was producing their album that was coming out. We were at a place called the Akron Agora, and I was backstage talking to one of the guys from Love Affair, and he told me, he says, Eric Carmen's producing our new album that's coming out. He said, Eric will probably be here tonight. And I was like, oh, my God, you got to be kidding me. Go All the Way, I Want to Be With You, Let's Pretend. I mean, all those songs. When I was a kid, man, I used to just sit there and play them and play them and play them and play them. And so I'm up there on stage, and I'm singing Angel in a Centerfold, right?
Yeah.
And I look over, and I see this guy in a leather jacket. Part of it's blue, part of it's green, part of it's burgundy, like it was built with patches. Do you know what I mean? Remember how it was like in the 80s?
Right.
Here it's Eric Carmen. My whole body goes numb, and I'm forgetting the words, so I'm going, na, 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 where it wasn't even supposed to be. So it was so funny. I went, after the show, I was backstage, and I walked up to Eric, and we were talking, I was talking about I Want to Be With You, and this was so funny because there was a guitar sitting there, and I says, I love that song. You want to sing it? So I started playing. He goes, Frankie, that's not the way it's played. He took the guitar off me. He showed me the right chords. I felt like a little idiot,
Right.
But he was so awesome. Oh, my God, he was outstanding. He was actually teaching me how to do twirls. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. A lot of singers will hold a mic with their right hand, do a twirl, and catch it with their left hand.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's really hard to focus in on staying in that one spot. But he taught me that. But I've had some of the best teachers in the world, including when Michelangelo was doing our album. I used to watch him like a hawk with that finger tapping to the right, then to the left, then both. And that's a video recorded it, and that's how I started getting to the next level, as far as a musician.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Getting back to Eric Carmen here real quick. You play all these instruments. What lit the fire under you? What started the spark? And
when I was 3 years old, my godfather came over to the house. He had black pants on, black bell bottoms. He had a black hat on, and he was carrying a guitar, which was my godfather.
Uh-huh.
And matter of fact, I wrote a song about him, which is on the album called Croatian Rock and Roll. But anyway, I'm standing there watching him. He gets the guitar out, and then, of course, my Kumba Julie, which was his wife, played the piano. And I'm watching them. And he goes, I'll never forget, he pointed to me, he goes, come here. And I says, what? He goes, take this pick, put it in your hand. He says, I'm going to play Frankie and Johnny, and I want you to strum this. And I says, I don't know what you're talking about. He goes, I'll show you. So he starts showing me 1, 2, 3, 4, Frankie and Johnny. He's singing it,
Yeah.
And I'm playing the guitar. And he looks at my dad, he goes, Frank, get this kid a guitar, quick. And my dad says, oh, okay, you really think he can play? He goes, look. And he started speeding it up, and as he sped it up, I kept the tempo with him. And he couldn't believe it, 3 years old. So Dad got me a guitar, so did he. They both pitched in and got me a guitar. And the first song I learned was, These Boots Are Made for Walking.
Oh, wow.
And so from there, it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, over the years. And then I started playing piano. Then I started playing trumpet. Just all the memories I have from when I was a kid, even harmonica. Everything you can think of. Many people have said, is there any instrument that you cannot play? And God, come on. I've been doing this since I was 3 years old. And that was my passion since I was a kid. I was always in the fiddlestick shows at Kennedy, any of the MC shows, anything like that.
Right.
I was the guy that was there doing it. And what was so funny, when it come to school, I'm not going to lie to you, I wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer, because all I thought about was music. I didn't care about science. I didn't care about history. All I thought about was music, and now it's paid off. I've done things, my dad always says, you've done things that a person doesn't do in a lifetime. He says, it's amazing what you have done.
Right.
And, opening up for David Lee Roth, what an honor that was. And I mean, it's just so amazing.
Did you get a chance to hang with Dave at all, or did you have any kind of encounter with him? What was that like?
I did. You know what he was worried about when he met me? This is so funny. He came knocking on my dressing room door before I went on stage, and he heard that I was doing the Illusions of Rock Stars.
Yeah.
And, of course, Smoke bragged it up, you know, wait till you hear this guy. So he come knocking on the dressing room door, and he says, it was so funny. My dad answered the door. Now, my dad still plays. He's 95 years old, believe it or not, and he still plays Flight of the Bumblebee and all these crazy songs on harmonica. But anyway, he says to me, he says, Frankie, some guy's out here. He wants to talk to you. And I go, Dad, that's David Lee Roth. I go, oh, my God. So he comes in, and he says, hi, you know, we shook hands and everything. He goes, are you going to do me? And I looked at him and I says, yeah, we were going to do Jump. And he goes, and I says, okay, how about Where Eagles Fly? You know, I'm trying to think of all these songs that Sammy did in I Can't Drive 55,
right,
you know.
Right.
And he says, yeah, that's good. So funny. So I get up there and I'm doing the show and we're going on, and I get done doing the show, knock, knock, knock on the dressing room door again. Dad says, you got to remember, my dad doesn't know who David Lee Roth is. You know what I mean?
It's
He's
that
not
guy
into
again.
Van Halen.
It's the guy with the hair again.
He said, yeah, that's what he said. He goes, it's that crazy guy again. And I says, oh, Dad, you can't talk like that. He goes, he didn't hear me. And so he walks in, and this was weird. You got to laugh, because I didn't know what he was going to say.
Yeah.
He goes, fantastic job. Turned around and walked away with his bodyguard.
Oh, that's pretty wild, man. That is pretty wild.
It was different. But Rick Springfield, I love working with him. He is amazing.
You know, I just saw him with Sammy Hagar on this last tour earlier this summer. And here's a guy that is, I was a little upset with Rick Springfield. Here's a guy that's almost 80 years old. He is out there with no shirt on. The guy is like built, and he's out there running around the stage. The women are still going nuts over this guy, and I'm huffing and puffing walking up to the beer stand. I'm like, okay, you don't have to come out here and show off like that, you know?
You know what? I tell you what, the secret is, and this is no lie, I've been working out. I still do it. I started when I was in my 20s. I'm 66 now, and I still work out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I ride the bike. I'm a big health nut. And I'll tell you something else that's really crazy is a lot of people can't believe. When we rehearse, there's no drinking, there's no smoking, no nothing. When we play, there's no drinking, nothing. Water if you want. That's it. Because I have reached my plateau, and if I blow it, if I make a mistake, I'm never going to forget it. And I don't even want to be able to say, hey, I can't believe I did that because I drank too much, or I did this, or I did that.
Yeah.
So cleaning up the act was definitely a great idea. And like I said, people don't misunderstand. I don't regret what I did. I love the music store. I love the car lot. I mean, just a little bit ago, I sold a Viper to a guy from Columbus.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm having a blast there. Don't get me wrong. But I want to go to the next level. I don't want to be like, and I hate to say this, but my dad always said, because he had a chance, he was actually playing with, what's that guy's name from the Harmonicats, Jerry Murad. I don't know if you remember him.
Yes.
In the 50s, they were huge. And in the middle of our show, Dad gets up there and plays Flight of the Bumblebee on his harmonica. I mean, it was amazing. But he always said, I got to take care of my family. I can't go on the road. Well, guess what? Both of my daughters went through college. I'm so thrilled with them. One is a minister, and she's doing a phenomenal job. The other one's a school teacher, which she was a hell of a drummer for us. But they're married now, and they have kids. I have grandkids. But now it's my turn to do what I want to do. They're all raised. My house is paid for. My buildings are paid for. I don't know nobody nothing.
Yeah.
Except I want to get out there with my wife. I want her right there with me. We've been married 43 years. It'll be in September. And there's just so many cool things. When we first met, I wrote a song called Angeline. Yeah. I met her at a bar. Remember Dave Ditzler, the owner of the Arcade Rock Club?
Right, yes.
Okay, Dave and I were out one night, and this girl's hiding behind me, and I'm like, what are you doing? She says, you see that guy over there with curly red hair? And I says, yeah. She goes, he's bothering me. So I walked over to him, and I said, listen, you're scaring the heck out of my sister. Leave her alone. He goes, oh, I'm sorry. So now I'm her bright and shining armor, you know.
Yeah.
And we hit it right off the bat. Believe it or not, 3 months we were later. Or 3 months later, we were married. I'm sorry.
How about that, man? And
yeah,
still going strong. That is so awesome,
and
man.
You know what? In everything we do, she's always right there with me. Always. But I did write a song about her, which is on this album. It's called Angeline. And what was so funny is years ago when I wrote it, I told Safira, I said, I got a song I want you to hear. And Safira, you got to remember now, Danny Pecchio played bass for Michael Stanley, and he also played for him.
Yeah,
you know, for Glass Heart. Right. And so he I remember when I was playing a song for him, he pushed himself away from the computer. He goes, you can't do this. He goes, it sounds just like Michael Stanley. I go, no, he sounds like me. And we cracked up laughing. So that was the joke. But we did not record it. So I'm getting close to finally, after 12 years, after, you know, Smoke passed away, I'm trying to finish this album up. And I had a dream one night, and this is funny. I was playing with Eddie Van Halen and John Bonham, and they were doing this crazy, wicked beat, and Eddie was doing this finger tapping like crazy. So I got up, and in the middle of the night, I'm writing it down. I'm writing the notes. I'm writing everything that I heard. So I called Safira the next day. I said, John, this is what I dreamt last night. I need your opinion on it. What do you think? So I showed him all the tracks and everything. It was so funny because that's the first time I ever stumped him because he couldn't do the drum beat.
Wow.
So I showed him how to do it. And then he got it. And then I started ripping with a lead on it, which is on the new album. So what I do when everybody hears me play Eruption at the show, right after, as I'm playing Eruption, I go right into Angeline, which is all the finger tapping that I made up that I thought I seen in my dreams of Eddie playing. So it's really cool.
Oh, I mean, that is awesome.
Great things. Yeah, a lot of great things have happened.
Well, things are going good.
To this.
So, Frankie Fordley, I want to thank you for taking some time out with us here this afternoon to chat for a little bit and share some awesome stories. So, before we split, you know, why don't you run down everything about the return of the Frankie Fordley Band coming up this weekend, the album and everything? Give me the whole 9 yards in a nutshell.
We are going to rock Ohio so hard at Leon's. I mean, it's just going to be tons of surprises. Let's put it that way, number one. And the songs that you guys are going to hear, it's going to be amazing. You're going to love it. We got T-shirts. We come out with this is something different. They're actually chrome T-shirts. It's black shirt with chrome, and then it says the Frankie Fordley Band on it, which we're thrilled. And, of course, my new CD, we'll be selling the CDs there. We go on at 9 o'clock. Best thing I can tell you, get there early at Leon's. We actually even have a stage coming in that we're building. I shouldn't say we're building. I'm having them build a nice big stage, which from what I heard, they've never had a stage in there. So this is going to be really neat. Huge light show, lasers, fog machines, all kind of great. It's just going to be a blast. It's going to be something. Oh, and also I actually hired a photographer and a video lady, which she's going to be putting on our new website. And what's so funny, I'm so pumped up, and everybody, all the guys in the band keep calling me, make sure I'm okay. You're not having a heart attack or anything, are you? You guys got to remember, I work out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I mean, I hit it hard. I hit it for an hour and a half all the time. And I'm not doing it to be big, muscled, or anything like that, but it's not easy when we play Hotel California, I got a double neck on me. Right. So I'm starting out with a 12 string, and then I go to the lead on the 6 string. But you got to be able to handle that, you know, and moving around and doing what you're doing. It's just amazing.
Well, that sounds awesome. And then once you guys wrap that up, then the sky's the limit for the Frankie Fordley Band.
Right. Well, Leon, the owner of Leon Rich, by the way, what a super, super, super guy. And Vicky, Victoria, she goes by. They're great people, just wonderful, wonderful people. But they already asked us, can you give us another date? And I says, when are you thinking? They says, 2 weeks after the show. And I says, what? And he says, yeah. Yeah, we heard all about you. They're getting a lot of good reports on this. And I says, let me talk with my agent. So we did give him a definite December 26th, which is the day after Christmas.
Oh, that should be a jamming party there, too.
Yeah,
all right, so
yeah,
this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, it is the return of the Frankie Fordley Band, and that's going to be at Leon's. The new album is coming out. The band is rejuvenated, re-energized, and I'm sure the spirit of Smokin' Bill will be alive and well in the house on Saturday night.